Hello, and welcome again to Bell Primrose Yoga. Today we are going to be going through a flow that I did at my latest women's circle with Steph, and it's a nice spring mellow flow. So again, nothing too crazy, but just building up a little bit of energy, just like the seasons. So with that being said, you don't really need anything today, although if you wanted to, you could use some blocks, a blanket, cushion, anything could be useful, but you really don't need anything other than yourself and your practice space. So, when you have arrived, just taking a few moments to find your center. So finding a comfortable seat, grounding down through the sit bones, maybe closing the eyes and finding a steady gaze. Length through the spine and out the crown of the head. Start to notice where you can feel expansion in your body today. Maybe where this is showing up in your life, this theme of expanding, expansion. And where can you feel some connection? Where are you feeling connection in your body right now? Just taking a moment to notice. Lovely. And then I'm going to guide you through a couple rounds of breath work. So finding or staying in your comfortable seat. If it's not, then maybe switching it around to find somewhere that you can access the breath. So basically nice tall spine, nothing crouched down. And you can do this lying down. I prefer this seated, but it's up to you. So once you've found that place, maybe finding a steady gaze again, or lowering down the eyelids. And then starting to take the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Just starting to lengthen the inhales and lengthen the exhales. And on your next inhale, can you send that inhalation all the way down to the pit of your belly, so you're filling up and expanding around your belly, in between your hip bones. And then the breath travels back up and you let it go. Another one just like that, deep belly breath, inhaling. And then exhaling, letting it rise and go. And then your next inhale, can you take your awareness to the center of your body, so just above your navel, around the ribs and the sideways, taking a deep inhale, expanding those rib cages. And then exhale, the breath draws up and out. Just know you can take your breath through exhalation out of the mouth, if the nose doesn't feel good. Another one here. Expanding the midsection of the body all the way around to the back as well, just 360. And letting it go. And then on the next inhale, can you take your awareness and your breath to your upper part of your body, so your chest and between your collarbones, so feeling the inhale rising your heart up, broadening through the collarbones, and then exhale, letting the breath up and out. Lovely, one more like that. Inhaling, taking a breath. Imagine it swirling all the way across to your shoulders, each point on each side. And then exhale, letting it go. Lovely, then on your next inhale, can you draw all three together? So deep inhale and it travels down, all the way down through to your belly. So every part of your body is moving, upper, mid and lower. And then exhale, just like a lift, the breath is coming all the way back up and out through the mouth, like a lift or an elevator, I should say. Another one just like that, deep breath all the way down. You can imagine it's going all the way down to your hip bones and your pelvic floor at the bottom. And then riding the breath all the way back up and out, letting it soften on the exhale. And I want you to imagine, you can return to a normal breath in between these moments when I'm talking, that your pelvic floor is like, it has 4 points, so it's right at the base of this, the way you're taking the breath right at the bottom, so in between your hip bones, like around this lower belly area, and you can almost think of it as like a parachute. So you've got these 4 points, 2 at the front, 2 at the back, and we're taking a deep inhale now, so we're breathing all the way down into that, and this parachute is letting go, softening. And then on the exhale, the parachute is drawing all the way back up. So it's like those ones you had when you were a kid at school. It's literally drawing everything back up. And the breath comes out the mouth. Another one straight through like that. So inhaling all the way down, letting it soften. That pelvic floor at the bottom, then draws everything back up on your exhale. And you can start to feel this sense of like tightening, and you may like to even have a little squeeze as you draw everything back up. But this isn't a squeeze from the bum. You have to make sure that this squeeze comes from this core, which is wrapping around this 360, which is where your midsection comes into. So just moving through this a couple more times, inhaling all the way down, letting everything soften. And then on your exhale, you're drawing everything back up. This comes from deep, deep, deep within, and it follows all the way up through the core until your breath is literally pushed out the top of your mouth. Another one just like that. Inhaling, softening, letting go. Exhaling, drawing everything back up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhaling one more time. Softening, letting go, and then last one here, really drawing everything back up on your exhale. Lovely stuff. And just letting that breath go now, letting any tension go, and returning to your normal breath. Maybe you like to open the eyes. You might feel some heat that's building in your body. I know I certainly have. Lovely. And then when you're ready, coming forward into a tabletop position. So planting the hands out in front of you, hips behind, so you're in this all fours position. And today you might like to bring the hands a bit further forward and out, just to take some energy off, or some weight off of the wrists. You know, we're in spring, so things are going, but we're not really in this peak of summer yet, so you can still take things nice and easy. So this is your reminder to do that. And then just start to move your energy from side to side. So you're switching the weight from the left to the right. Let the hips sway from side to side. You can paw the ground if you want, finding a position that feels good for you. And then maybe you start to take the energy forwards and backwards, so you're just rocking, coming off of the wrists a bit, and then maybe shoulders all the way over the wrists, just slowly warming them up. Lovely, and then maybe turning it into a circle. It doesn't matter which way you go, because we'll switch sides. So you're circling this energy all the way around. And by this energy, I quite literally mean your body. Lovely, and then switching sides and direction. Lovely stuff. And then I just invite you to maybe take some barrel rolls, anything that feels intuitive. If you felt uneven on those circles, maybe there was a place you needed to go or a few more rounds you needed to take. You wanted to pull the ground a bit more. You can come onto the back of the hands here if your wrists feel like they need a bit more work. And flip the palms so the fingertips face the knees. Anything where you can just get into your own, get in touch with your intuition. Finding that connection in your body again, and maybe even that expansion as well. And just keep it going here. Lovely stuff. And then when you're done there, finding center again, so maybe the hands come underneath the shoulders, or if it feels better to have them out in front of you a bit to take the weight off of the wrist, and do that. I'm going to move through some cat-cows, but I really want the focus now to be on this upper part of the body, so your collarbones. So taking an inhale here, dropping the belly, really shining the collarbones forward, the neck and the chin out in front of you. Then exhale, push around, so really pushing into the hands, pushing into the thumbs and the index finger, rounding up into the shoulders. So you're creating some space between the shoulder blades. Gaze comes between the thumbs. Lovely. And then inhaling again, dropping the shoulder blades and scooping the chest out in front of you. Gaze out on the horizon. Lovely. Exhale, pushing the ground away, doming into the upper spine. And the hips will be moving with you, but we're just not taking the focus there today. Moving forward again on your inhale, scooping the heart out and forward. And then exhale, push around, pushing the ground away. One more just like that, inhaling forward. Feeling a nice stretch in your belly to moving. And then exhale, pushing around. Lovely, and then from here, walking the fingertips back to the knees, tucking the toes back behind you, just for a moment. Take a second here so you can just feel, maybe you're spreading the toes out, you might even need to use the fingers to hook the pinky toe out. Come to the side, so you're quite literally sat with your toes tucked on your heels here. And this can feel like a lot in the feet, just knowing we'll be here for much longer. Take a moment to take a deep breath in. And then letting it go, rolling over the toes, and then bringing your feet a bit wider than hips distance and coming into your malasana or your yogi squat. So the feet are out on a diagonal, the knees are there too, you might need to sway a few times. And if this is way too deep for you to get into straight away, just know you can be higher up here, it can feel more intense. Or if you have a block, books, anything around, you can just use this and place it under your sit bones. This can be a very nice way if you find that your malasana is very rounded in the spine, just by placing something underneath your hips here. You can really find some space, which is lovely. Just taking a moment here, maybe hands come to heart center, elbows can come on to the insides of the knees, feet planted firmly, and again finding some length through the spine. Taking a deep breath all the way into the belly, and then exhale, letting it go. Deep breath all the way down the back of the spine, and then exhale, letting it go back out the crown of your head. Lovely. And then from here, you can keep the block if you did use one, because it's going to be quite nice. We're going to go into a forward fold. So turning the toes to face out in front of you, and then just lifting the hips up, keeping the chest or the torso nice and glued to your thighs, and then taking a nice deep bend through the knees so you can keep that connection. We're not worried so much about straightening our legs today. I'd rather if you had maybe a wider stance
and deeper bend in the knees, just so you can keep that connection from your chest to your thighs. Letting the head and neck go. If you've got a block, you might like to put the hands on the block in front of you. Any height is good. Hands can also come to the floor, to your shins or to your thighs. Rolling the neck, shaking it yes, and nodding it yes, and shaking it no. Lovely. And then from here, taking your left hand to the middle of the floor in front of you or to the block, and then simply twisting the right arm up. So you're going to bend deeply into your left knee, maybe straightening through the right leg. Lovely. Gaze out to the side. Just finding this nice open twist. Lovely stuff. And then letting that go and switching sides. So the right hand will come out into the middle, and the left hand will switch up to the sky. You're going to bend deeply, probably through your right leg, maybe straightening through your left. It's going to feel quite nice in your hips as well after all of that compressed work we just did. Lovely. Then mating back in your forward fold. And then we're going to roll to stand, but I want you to do this piece by piece. So very, very slowly. Start to uncurl the spine, pushing in your feet into the ground. Some strength in the belly to rise you all the way up. Head and neck very last. And then when you've reached the top, sweeping the hands up and overhead. And then exhaling, cactusing the elbows down, but trying to contain these front ribs, so that kind of your bottom ribs are drawing down to the hip bones as you draw the shoulder blades back together. So the focus here is across back to the shoulder blades. One more like that. Inhale up and overhead. Then exhale, drawing down. This time maybe you let the ribs flare out a bit. More expansion versus the connection. And then exhale, letting that go, shaking out the hands, shaking out the legs, finding a moment to reintegrate back into the body. Lovely. And then from here, we're going to move through a little flow with some lunges. So make sure you've got some space around you. And then taking the weight into the left foot. Very slowly start to tilt the weight forward, and you're going to draw the right leg back and behind you, and you can lift this up and take it back, just like that. Show it from the side actually, just like this. Or if you want and you need a bit more balance aid, then you can simply just draw the foot across the floor until the back knee drops and you're in your low lunge. And then from here, just start to pulse forwards and backwards. So it's like you're gliding the hips forward and back. Hands can be placed on top of the thigh. Or if you want a bit more of a balance challenge, arms up and overhead. Back toe can be tucked or untucked. It's up to you. And then whilst you're doing this, can you start to draw the front heel back and underneath you? And then this back knee, almost like it's forward. They're not going to move anywhere, but it's just energetically drawing it in. So it's almost like you've got this big ball of energy, or like one of those pregnancy balls that you sit on. You know, the big bouncy ones, or a big bouncy gym ball, and you're kind of trying to hold this underneath you. So there's a sense of stability and strength and structure in the legs. And this can give your upper body some freedom.
So you're not just aimlessly lolloping forwards and backwards, there's control here. Lovely. And then pausing somewhere in the middle. Maybe now hands can reach up overhead and you're really trying to squeeze this big beach ball that's underneath your legs together. Letting the hips slide a bit further forward. Lovely. And then on your next exhale, kickstanding the back leg out or in, whichever way makes more sense to you. So you're in this little side angle variation stance. And then we're going to do the same thing here. So this time the hips are slightly more open and you're just going to start to wave forwards and then draw it back. So opening out and drawing it back. Maybe the inhales are taking you forward and the exhales is that same energy we did with those belly breaths at the beginning. The exhales are drawing everything up and in. The left forearm might like to find a place on the front thigh. Really, this is a nice time to just get into your body and breath and your intuition. There's not many rights and wrongs right now. Lovely. And then when you're done here, finding a place that feels good, maybe slightly further forward. So the knees tracing over that front left foot. And then you might like to, if you haven't already, bring your left forearm down onto the thigh. And the back right arm can sweep up and overhead, so you're in this side angle variation. Same sense here that that front right heel's drawing back and underneath you. So you're engaging through your pelvic floor ever so subtly. Be careful, quite big. Lovely stuff. And then drawing everything back up to centre. The back knee, the back leg can twist back forward again, and then the left leg, the front leg, is going to simply go back and join it. And then you're back in that toes pose seat. From here, we're going to do the same on the other side. So rolling over the toes, and then again very slowly rolling all the way up into a standing position, Uttanasana. Vertebrae unravels piece by piece. And then when you get up to the top, arms sweeping up and overhead. And then exhaling cactus. First time containing the ribs. Lovely. Inhaling up and overhead again. And then exhale cactus again, drawing the shoulder blades down, but this time letting your chest flare out. Big open expansion on the front body. And then drawing everything together. Lovely. And then the weight starts to shift over to the right foot, and you draw that left foot all the way back and behind you. Upper body counterbalances by leaning out, and you're in your lunge position. And we go for side two. It's just taking it forward and backward, flossing out through the hips. If this is at all uncomfortable on the knees or the back knee, then you can put a blanket or a rolled up t-shirt or towel underneath the knee for some extra support. And then can you find that connection, that big ball that you're holding underneath your front leg here? Can you move with grace whilst trying to keep that connection in the lower body? Lovely. And then finding somewhere you can be still. Maybe arms up and overhead. Really drawing that right heel back and underneath you like you're scrubbing it under. Good. Letting that go, and then kick-standing the back leg across. I think across works better. Same on this side. Flossing the hips forwards and backwards. So that front knee is kind of chasing or gliding over the front right foot. The hips are almost at a diagonal, so they're a bit more open. Just warming up through this side. And then start to again imagine that lovely connection that you're probably quite sick of by now. Just know this is our last pose doing this. Last few moments of activation. Good, and then finding a place of stillness. So the right knee chasing over the right foot, the right forearm can find a home, maybe the palms facing up, and the back arm sweeps up and overhead. Make sure the shoulders aren't bunched up into the neck. So you've got that connection in the lower body, but the space in the upper body. Lovely stuff. Then bringing the hands down by the front foot, tucking the front foot back to meet the right, and you're back in that tabletop position. So just gonna have a little moment to have a check-in here. So maybe a sway side to side like we did at the beginning. Start to notice how you feel now. Coming forwards and backwards. Circles again if that feels good. You feel nice to release through the hips with some circles. Really getting that pelvic tilt involved. Done a lot of subtle work there. Lovely, and then making your way into a comfortable seat. Any seat is a good seat. Just closing down the eyes for a second, finding a steady gaze again. Palms resting in the lap. Just noticing what you can feel. Maybe the heat rising, the energy in and around you. Lovely. And I'm going to take a pigeon, and there's a few ways you can take this. You can obviously take a traditional pigeon if you're feeling very open in the hips right now, so something like that. Or you could take a seated pigeon, so you can have the hands back behind you. This can be quite nice, especially if you're pregnant. I did this a lot in pregnancy. Taking the right foot across and placing it on the right knee. And just breathing into that openness. Or if you want a reclined pigeon, which is what I'll be taking, just rolling all the way down onto your spine. Keeping that right foot on top of, just underneath the left knee. And then just drawing the right knee away from you. Take a couple of moments here. Maybe focusing on lengthening your inhales and exhales again. If you want more, then you can pick the left foot up off of the ground and hug the left knee into the chest. Lovely. Letting that side go and just simply switching sides. So the left ankle will be just below the right knee. Taking a couple moments here to begin with. feeling yourself winding down. Again, you might want to pick up the right knee and bring it into the chest. This is obviously more intense of a stretch. Just bear that in mind. Okay, and then letting that go, planting both feet on the floor, whether you're upright or lying down, just windscreen wipering the legs, the knees side to side, finding any last movements that are calling you before finding your shavasana. So rolling down flat onto the spine. If lying down doesn't feel good to you, then finding a comfortable seat, maybe in a chair or up against a wall, somewhere where you're supported. Just taking a few moments to bring awareness to your body. To the energies flowing through your body as you start to shift into relaxation. Start to take awareness to your breath. And the softness of it now. As it fills up your body. And I would encourage you to pause the video here and take at least 5 to 10 more breaths. Maybe longer if you can in this shavasana. And I thank you all again for practicing with me. And I will see you soon.